Good morning. Welcome to the Piedmont Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is, Piedmont UU sits on the traditional lands of the Catawba, the Kiowa, and the Sugaree people. My name is Cosette Blackmer, and I will be worship assistant this morning for our guest speaker, Reverend Brooks Paradise. We are a flourishing, vibrant, and radically welcoming congregation which promotes diversity, inclusion, and social justice. We provide a safe haven for creative intellectual growth, spiritual development, and a deep sense of community for all who join us. We hope our liberal religious values will challenge you to join us as a community that lives boldly and acts justly. To all our visitors and members, we welcome you, either here or with us in person or online, and we hope that we will see you again. Your presence is truly a gift to us. We have a couple of announcements this morning. Our guest speaker today, Reverend Amy Brooks Paradise, she is the U.S. Organizing Coordinator with Greenfaith. We are happy to have you with us today. Reverend Amy Rio is away for study leave and professional development until June 3rd. If you have a pastoral care concern, please email joysandconcerns@puuc.org and email bot@puuc.org, BOT for Board of Trustees, for any other pressing needs. Our church-wide picnic is this coming Saturday, beginning at 11 a.m. at Dorton Park. Please bring food to share and include an ingredients list. For other important information for our vibrant community, please see your order of service, or if you are on our email list, please check our monthly newsletter and weekly announcements. At this time, I'd like to invite Madia to come forward to talk about graduation. Is that a misprint? What's that?
She is supposed to do that.
All right.
She was at Piedmont, maybe she got held up. I mean, at Salisbury.
So how is everybody this morning?
Very springy.
Very springy. Hi, here's Madia now.
Good morning. I've had a wild morning, so bear with me while I pull up this list, but I wanted to speak with you all today so that we can celebrate those who graduated this year. Just give everybody a shout out. Some of these people are here at our gather, and some of them are from Salisbury. So I'm going to go through the names, and then when we're all done, we're going to give them a big round of applause to celebrate their achievements. So we have Damon D., who graduated from the University of Memphis. Ethan K., who graduated from Harvard University with a degree in political science. Ava L., who graduated from Greystone Day School and will be attending UNC Chapel Hill and plans on majoring in journalism. Julia H., who graduated from UNC Asheville with a BA in economics and a minor in women, gender, and sexual studies. Kathleen B., who has a doctorate in educational leadership with a focus on higher education from UNC Charlotte, and little Claire G., who graduated from kindergarten this year, where her curriculum was 100% in Spanish. So we wanted to give all of them a big shout out and to celebrate them all as part of our community. So if you could please join me giving them a round of applause. Thank you.
Well, this is a little unusual, but I've been handed a last-minute announcement, and we'd like to discourage this. If you have an announcement you'd like to be stated at the podium on Sunday mornings, there's a place online for you to do that, and it'll say, do you want to have it in the weekly newsletter or announced from the podium? But I've been handed this, and so the quarterly meeting will be held this afternoon at okay, at 4:30 p.m. at the Friends Meeting House in Davidson, 625 South Street. The presentation is a very brief look at American humanism with the focus on John Dietrich. For more information, please see Jeff Bloom following the service. He's here today. Want to wave? All right, thank you very much. Whatever brought you to this place at this hour, we welcome you. May you find something that you need, and may you leave richer in spirit than when you arrived.
From the sparks of the stars that have brought us to life, to the spark that is in your own heart, to the flame of this community, let us join together in singing the words to our chalice lighting, a symbol of our faith. Good morning. Good morning. Good to be here with all of you in this room and those who are online. Our call to worship, which I would like to invite those of you who are willing and able to stand, is by Marianne Hatchin Cotter. So please rise as you are able for these words. Welcome to this place of possibility. This is love's hearth, the home of hope, a refuge for minds in search of truth, unfolding, ever beautiful, ever strange. Here, compassion is our shelter, freedom our protection from the storms of bigotry and hate. In this abode, may we find both comfort and courage. Here, may our sight become vision to the unseen, to glimpse the good that is yet to be. I invite you to join me now in singing our opening hymn, number 21, in your gray hymnal, For the Beauty of the Earth.
Thank you.
Hello. If there are any children who want to join us who are not currently sitting up here, it is time for all ages. So if you want to come up, I have a book for us today. Hello, everyone. It's been a while since I've seen some of you, so it's good to see you again. I hope you've all been doing well. We are in a new month. What month are we in right now? What month are we in? June. That is correct. It is officially June 1st. I wouldn't have blamed you if you thought it was still May, because my brain thought that it was May all morning, and then I realized, no, actually, I have a whole new lesson I'm starting today. So as you know, each month we have a different theme. So the theme for the month of June is freedom. Do you know what that means? What does that mean? Do you need some help? What does it mean? You get to be free. What does being free mean? Do we know? It's kind of a hard word to define, right? What is it? Yeah, you have the ability to do different things, right? Having freedom means being allowed to do different things. So today we are talking about having the freedom to be who you are and presenting yourself the way that you want, dressing how you want, doing, like crafts that you want or activities that you want, being yourself. So I have a book for you today. We're going to read Julian is a Mermaid by Jessica Love. Can you hold the book cover for me? Thank you so much.
Can I hold your microphone for it?
I got it. Thank you. This is a boy named Julian, and this is his abuela. Do you know what that word means? What does that word mean? It means grandma. And those are some mermaids. Look at them. Look at those mermaids. Are they real mermaids?
Yes.
Well, they're humans dressed like mermaids, right? So it's just people dressed like mermaids. But we're going to call them mermaids. Julian loves mermaids. So now we jump into his imagination. What is he imagining? That he becomes a mermaid. Look at this. His hair grows long. He's swimming. He's swimming with all the fish. Look at those beautiful fish. And he grows a tail. Being a mermaid would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? It'd be pretty cool. Vámonos, mijo. This is our stop. So they get off the bus, and the mermaids wave goodbye. And they're headed home. Abuela, did you see the mermaids? I saw them. Abuela, I am also a mermaid. To which she replies, I'm going to take a bath. You be good. Do you think he's going to be good? Yeah, you think so? You don't think so? So we have some no's, we have some yeses. All right. Julian has a good idea. What's he doing? He's dressing up like a mermaid. He put a plant on his head so that he could have long hair. Should we be putting plants on our heads?
No.
No, that would make such a mess. That makes such a mess. We should not be doing that. Look at what else he does. What's he doing? He pulled the curtains off. Is that a good idea?
No.
No, that's dangerous. You could pull the curtain rod right on your head. Bang, ow. But what does he turn himself into? He turns himself into a mermaid. Uh-oh. What do you think's about to happen? Do you think he's going to get in trouble? Abuela came in, and she saw him, and then she walks away. So he feels sad. And then she says, come here. And she gives him a gift. For me, Abuela, for you, Julian. What did she give him? A necklace, a pearl necklace to go with his costume, his mermaid costume. Then what? What's going on in this picture? They're going outside. Where are we going? You'll see, says Abuela. Maybe. Mermaids, whispers Julian. Where are they? Looks like they're at a party. Yeah, they're at a party or a circus. There's a bunch of people dressed up, though, right? Look at all of them. They're all dressed up, ready to party. They're all dressed up like different sea animals, that's right. Like you, mijo, let's join them. Look at that beautiful picture of all of the different people dressed up. Yeah, there's fishes and mermaids, and people are dressed all different kinds of ways. And they do. Look at them walking around with all the other people dressed up just like Julian. Look at that. Look at all the different mermaids. So we're talking about the freedom to be who you are. Can I have that back? Thank you. How does Julian's grandmother help him be who he wants to be? Yeah. Takes him to a festival. What's special about that festival? Yeah? What's special about the festival? Carrots? Maybe there were carrots at the festival. That'd be super cool. Ellie, can you help us out? What was special about that festival? Yeah, she brought him someplace where he felt he fit in because everyone else was also dressed the same way. What would you like to dress up as? Wonder Woman? Anyone else? What do you want to dress up as? That's a hard question. Fairy princess. Wouldn't it be great if you could go somewhere and you could just wear whatever you want? You could wear the craziest costume you want and everyone around you is also dressed the same way? Would that make you feel safe? No. Yes? maybe you're afraid at first because it's a bunch of new people, so maybe you don't feel safe like exactly at first. But we feel safer when we're around people that we're comfortable with, right? And so when we celebrate the ability and the freedom to be who we are, we help other people realize that they are able to be comfortable and free to be who they are. So we're going to keep talking about that. So for my older kiddos, you're going to come with me and Miss Robin, and we're going to go to the RE room. And for my younger kiddos, you're going to head back to the nursery, and you're going to get to play with some great toys and use your imaginations. All right, let's head on out.
She's awesome. This is our time of ritual and sacred sharing, a time for our joys and sorrows, our concerns, and our milestones. We'll be lighting some candles together. For this week, we light a candle for Ron F., who is dealing with cancer, and I learned yesterday went back to Chapel Hill for some emergency care. For Susan B. and her health concerns, for ongoing recovery efforts for all those impacted by Hurricane Helene and the California fires, for the immediate relief for the people in Gaza, for all areas of violence around the world, especially Haiti, the Sudan, the Middle East, and the war in Ukraine. For our country, that we might continue to work towards creating a society filled with love, empathy, civil rights, and justice for all people. At this time, you are welcome to come up, fill out a prayer card over at the table, and then come around to drop a stone in the shared water or light your own candle of care and concern. The worship assistant will hand the candle to you if you wish to light one, and I invite you to come forward by walking along the outer aisle next to the wall. Please come. Now we light a few more candles for those things we hold in our hearts that remain unspoken, and for those joining us from elsewhere to honor what is in their hearts as well. I invite you now to get comfortable in your chair. Adjust yourself so you can feel the back of the chair holding you gently, your feet on the floor. Let's take a breath together. Breathing out, in and out, this common air that sustains and nurtures each one of us. Breathing in next, the love of this community, and breathing it out again to one another in the world. I invite you now into a time of quiet rest, silent meditation or prayer as we follow the sound of the singing bowl into the silence. And after a moment of silence, we will continue with our musical meditation.
Our wisdom reading this morning is an excerpt from the book, Where Do We Go From Here? Community or Chaos by Martin Luther King Jr. A genuine revolution of values means in the final analysis that our loyalties must become ecumenical rather than sectional. Every nation must now develop an overriding loyalty to humankind as a whole in order to preserve the best of their individual societies. This called for a worldwide fellowship that lifts neighborly concerns beyond one's tribe, race, class, or nation, is in reality a call for all-embracing and unconditional love for all people. This often misunderstood and misinterpreted concept is now become an absolute necessity for the survival of all. When I speak of love, I am speaking of that force which all of the great religions have seen as a unifying principle of life.
These days, it can be hard to sort out what we need to do in the midst of the unfolding chaos that surrounds us. Consuming the news is alternately depressing or enraging, and neither response is helpful unless it moves us to positive action. And in what actions should we engage? Should we be addressing the horrors of the war in Gaza or the dismantling of our healthcare system? Should we be moved by the impact of tariffs on business and consumer prices, or the impact of racialized deportation on people's lives, our public trust, our workforce? Yes. All of it. And yet it seems as though the world is spinning out and it's hard to know what to hold on to. We live in deeply chaotic times. The word chaos reminded me of the first work I ever read by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. entitled, "Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community?" By the time he had written this book in 1967, 1 year before he was murdered, King had moved past the goal of racial desegregation in the U.S. to a more comprehensive analysis that included not only a critique of racism, but also poverty and militarism. As the author of the introduction to the book noted, King moved the fight from civil rights to human rights. As heirs to King's legacy, I wondered, in the midst of our own chaos, much of which King presciently imagined, how do we respond? Does King still have something to teach us or remind us? What is the North Star to guide us in these difficult days? So let me set the stage just a little. If you go back to those times, we remember that King was writing at a time of great turmoil. It was the culmination of 100 years of Jim Crow, and we were in the midst of an exceedingly unpopular war, the Vietnam War. King was challenging not just desegregation, but the U.S. social, political, and economic structures. He was doing this by using nonviolent direct action to highlight the problems within the current system in order to what? Move us towards a community that benefited all people, not just a few. So I kind of went down a rabbit hole with King this week. I'm just going to tell you right now. But I think it's important. In order to create social change, the kind of cultural social change we needed then and we need now, the kind of social change that eliminates poverty, stops deportations, or challenges the oligarchy, or in my work with environmental work we call the oligarchy, you have to have power. And in order to have power, you have to get organized. Organizing is about building relationships and trust. It is not just enough to show up. We have to actively plan how to do it in a way that will be effective. In organizing circles, we say, change moves at the speed of trust. We cannot work well together unless we know each other, unless we trust each other, and that means we're in relationship. It is hard to trust people that you do not know. So in rereading, actually audiobooking this whole thing while I was driving around this week, I realized that the book is really a bit of an introduction into how to organize. King borrowed from the writings of the famous theologian Reinhold Niebuhr, who wrote in the midst of Nazi Germany, and focused on the interplay of ideology, economics, and politics in order to create a more just society. In organizing terminology, we call these the pillars of power. So let's look at these 3 pillars. This is the rabbit hole. Stay with me. If you need to move around and wave your arms or something, I'll try to keep it as lively as I can. Let's look at these. 1, what is an ideology? It's a set of beliefs, ideas, and values that shape how we see the world. And how we see the world absolutely changes how we behave and interact. You can have an ideology in many different contexts, but for our purposes, we want to talk about our social ideology, our cultural ideology. What is the story, the narrative, the set of values that we want to uphold as a society? To whom do we wish to appeal? Who do we want to inspire? Who do we want to persuade? King's ideology was grounded in his Christian faith. specifically in the idea of agape love, characterized as selfless, enduring, and endless, the kind of love that God has for creation, particularly humans, or so we think. As Black people marched across the South demanding that they be given equal treatment under the law, white people were confronted with the hatred and brutality of a system that did not recognize Black people's basic humanity. Sound familiar? King writes, "More white people learned about the shame of America and finally faced some aspects of it during the years of nonviolent protest than the entire centuries before." Nonviolent direct action will continue to be a significant source of power until it is made irrelevant by justice. Nonviolent direct action, grounded in faith and love, was the ideological landscape of the civil rights movement. 2, the second power of King's movement was to address the economic sector of the struggle. Black people are consumers like everybody else, and like everybody else, they needed a decent job to earn the money to take care of their families: food, clothing, shelter, education, and health care. Businesses that would not treat Black people fairly, hire them, or in some way hampered their economic prosperity were and are potential targets for economic pressure. If we recall, King kicked off the national civil rights movement with a bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama, which pressured the city to change their discriminatory bus policies. They put this pressure on the bus system by they quit riding it. No more fares, no more economic support. They withdrew their money. And by the time King reached the end of his life, he was in Tennessee supporting sanitation workers who were fighting for better pay, better working conditions, and the right to unionize. Make no mistake, unionizing is a form of organizing. It's a way to create power. The civil rights movement ideologically focused on desegregation, but it used tactics that had economic consequences. And as the movement grew to become a fight for human rights, the economic pressure grew, expanded, addressing issues of poverty, wages, working conditions, things that affected all people, not just Black people. 3, the last pillar of power to King's organizing structure was political. He addressed this in 2 ways. One was the right to vote. It's astonishing to think that Black people did not vote in this country until 1965. Likely a year or 2 after some of us in this room were born. The second way was to build alliances, something that today conservatives seem to do quite a bit better than some other groups, liberals, progressives, and so forth. King wrote, "The future of the deep structural changes we seek will not be found in the decaying political machines. It lies with new alliances," he wrote, "of Negroes, Puerto Ricans, labor, liberals, certain church and middle class elements." If we were writing this paragraph today, who might we include in our alliances? Black, white, Latinx, Indigenous, LGBTQ+, labor, immigrants, the middle class, the working class, the poor, maybe just about everyone. It's time for us to come together. If the 3 pillars King was using are ideology, economics, and politics, we can quickly see that today we have deep divisions in each one. On the one side, we have an economic elite that's pulling the levers of political power to deliver on an ideology to make America great again. Very easy to understand. That's one North Star. Others seem a little harder to identify. What is ours? What is our North Star? Certainly we can see that we are at a bit of a disadvantage right now to pull on either the lever of economics or politics. It feels a bit zipped up by the other side, so to speak. I'm going to get a little personal here in terms of the work I do with Greenfaith. We are indeed interested in structural change. For the last 7 years, Greenfaith has worked with people of faith here in the United States and around the world to think deeply about our faith teachings, which share at least 3 things in common. 1, humans are not the final measure of the world, whatever we may think or tell ourselves, and we owe our allegiance to something greater. Call it God, the community, the common good. Pick your word. 2, that we must care for each other, but most especially for those who are vulnerable and in need. And 3, we are responsible for taking care of the gift we have been given, this beautiful planet Earth. Every religion teaches some variation of these truths. In our language, we could say the interdependent web of all creation is our North Star. As Greenfaith followed that star, we realized that we are in an economy that's based on the extraction of oil and gas, and that economy leads to our collective destruction. The harvesting of oil and gas has high costs, including physical displacement to build those energy plants, leading to food insecurity, illness, things that tear at the social fabric of community. These harms stand counter to the ideology of love, compassion, and justice that all our faith traditions, including Unitarian Universalism, believe. For a long time, some of these costs remained hidden, or maybe we ignored them because they were happening somewhere else, not directly affecting us. Now, however, we see the collective toll of these costs in the form of climate change. But make no bones about it, some people, communities, have been dealing with this and understood this for a very long time, for as long as colonial settlements have happened on this land. At Greenfaith, we realize and we want to recognize that an economic endeavor that is no longer viable for our human well-being and our future on this planet should be something to which, as King would say, we should all be maladjusted. We should not be comfortable. It should feel funny. It should feel weird. It should feel wrong. Greenfaith's response has been to pivot away from the things we usually do to care for creation. That is not to say that the usual things, like reducing, reusing, and recycling, aren't important, or that there isn't value in planting gardens, or taking account of our own individual carbon footprint, or the carbon footprint of our congregations, but it is urgent that we consider the system itself and seek to change it. For several years now here in Charlotte, Greenfaith has been part of a multinational effort to highlight the fact that banks, insurance companies, and money managers invest billions of our hard-earned dollars in fossil fuel projects. And we want to make demands that ask them to change their investment practices. We're being that bold. We want a change. We have to say that out loud. At other times, we have taken the fight directly to the companies perpetrating the damage by shutting down work at pipelines and challenging the permitting processes at the state and national level. I want to give a shout out especially to many of our elders who have literally locked themselves to pipelines to shut down work for a day, who then get cut out by the police using saws, metal saws, and then go to jail. They have taken a great risk for our collective future. We have also been part of efforts that seek to promote a renewable energy future by supporting things like the Charlotte Sustainable Energy Action Plan or other things around the country and the world like New Jersey's Climate Superfund bill or shutting down the East African crude oil pipeline. The list goes on and on. We do that to apply pressure on the businesses and the government bodies that shape our ability to finance, build, and access renewable energy. This work for me has been deeply meaningful and personal. I want to see my daughter live in this beautiful world. Living out my own beliefs and care for people and the planet has become my North Star. Now, there is one more pillar of power we haven't directly named, but we've talked all around it, and that is people power. When you have enough people showing up at the voting booths or in the streets, it does change the outcome of elections, and it can change the mind of decision makers. Because every one of those people has families and children, and they are susceptible to this pressure. King taught us something else here too. Faith communities are already organized groups of people who come together around a common cause, and when they do it, they become powerful. I'm not saying that the black church then or any church now doesn't have problems and internal fights and pressures, but at some point, when faced with a larger social challenge, black people understood the need to unite for a greater common good. And perhaps it is time that all of us figured this out too. With the changes being made by our current administration, and with so much at stake, it seems appropriate to me that we recommit ourselves to our North Star, and that if we don't know what it is as an individual or as a congregation, we sit down and have some conversations and build some relationships and some trust and figure out what it is. It is time for us to put aside our differences and to find ways to unite ourselves across our many concerns, issues, and fights. It is time to find our North Star. We cannot afford, as King realized, to just focus on the symptoms: segregation, pollution, illness, poverty, food insecurity, hurricane recovery, immigration, homelessness. These are symptoms. We must look at, find, and address the underlying structural causes that create these problems in the first place. And we must put our love for each other and the planet before all else. We must be willing to look at our own complicity in this situation, because none of us are innocent, and ask ourselves and each other, how can we do better? We must admit that the economic system which sacrifices the well-being of the planet and the most vulnerable among us is no longer acceptable. We must come together in community here on Sunday mornings, but also in the public square, to sing and pray and vigil and pilgrimage for a better tomorrow. We must be willing to be uncomfortable, because accountability and change is always a little uncomfortable, because we know that change is the only way forward to a hopeful, sustainable, beautiful, joyful tomorrow. King wrote close to 60 years ago, "Our only hope lies in our ability to recapture the revolutionary spirit and to go out into a sometimes hostile world, declaring eternal opposition to poverty, racism, and militarism." We may add some other isms to that as well. With this, his quote goes on to say, "With this powerful commitment, we shall boldly challenge the status quo and unjust mores, and thereby speed the day when every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places plain. Indeed, let us hope that this spirit will become the order of the day." I want to close with an invitation and a song. Perhaps it's an altar call, UU style. I want to invite you as a congregation to join with Greenfaith this fall as we come together with groups around the country to shine a light for climate justice. On September 21st, many people and groups, including congregations around the country, are mobilizing for Sun Day. It is an effort to highlight on the fall equinox the power of the sun and renewable energy, and to challenge the status quo that says we can't make this transition. We do indeed have the ability to do this. We can significantly reduce our dependence on fossil fuel now, and as we do that, I believe the way will become more and more clear to transition as much as possible, almost completely off fossil fuels. If government and corporations would invest their political and economic capital into renewables instead of pushing back on drill baby drill, we could power the green energy revolution we so desperately need. And they will not do it until we demand that they do it. They will drag their feet to the end. Our demands, the collective demands of the people, delivered through organized pressure on businesses, corporations, banks, wealth managers, politicians, governments, friends, neighbors, family members, is what it will take to make this change. Greenfaith's part in this effort this fall is to organize and mobilize faith communities. We have ideas, we have toolkits, we have meetings, ways that you can take action, but we need you, the faithful, to live out your values and beliefs and to join us, not just within these spaces, but outside these doors, to take action to make it so. And here's the song. If you know it, I invite you to sing along. It is called We Are Known by the Company We Keep. It is time now. Does anyone know that? Or am I going to be bold and sing this all alone? All right, here we go. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. May it be so.
Thank you, Darlene. Now let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for now we are the keepers of the dream. This month we are sharing our offering plate with Greenfaith. Because the earth and all people are sacred and at risk, Greenfaith is building a worldwide, multi-faith climate and environmental movement. Together, our members create communities to transform ourselves, our spiritual institutions, and society to protect the planet and create a compassionate, loving, and just world. Our host will pass around the baskets, and as we ask you, we ask you that you pass the baskets down the rows when you receive them. You may place your gifts this morning in the baskets as they make their way around the room, and of course you are always welcome to give online at puuc.org or by texting PUUC at the number 73256. Today's offering will now gratefully be received.
As always, we thank you for the gifts contained within these baskets, and even more for all the gifts that you offer this beloved community, your time, your talent, your spirit. Let us rise now in body or spirit for our closing hymn, which is number 95 in the, is it the gray? In the gray hymnal, There's More Love Somewhere. Before we extinguish our chalice, I've been reminded that there is a program after the service that didn't make it into the announcements. Gio, we're having a short film and a conversation, right?
That's correct.
What time?
12:45-ish.
Great. 12:45. We're going to be digging into the little bit of the history of the fossil fuel travesty of hiding climate change, and then we're going to talk about it. So come on and join us. And we.
Be here in the sanctuary?
I don't know. Where's it going to be? It's going to be in the sanctuary. Woo! All right. Now, also before we extinguish our chalice, I want to offer thanks to the very many volunteers who helped make this worship service possible. We also ask before you leave today to place your hymnals back on the cart near the piano. So let us give a moment as we close here to give thanks either in our hearts or with words, things for which you are thankful today.
Darlene Hughes.
Feel free to shout it out. Any others?
This is paradise.
Oh. Thank you.
My sister Ann.
Hey, oh.
My sister Mary.
Okay, so I'm supposed to repeat these. So for Darlene, for me, for Anne, for Mary, who else? What else? What else are we thankful for today? Sunshine. Ladybugs. Beautiful. Anything else? Community. Friends, we extinguish our chalice now, but we carry its light, its warmth, and its meaning with us until we meet again. May we go in peace, believe in peace, create peace wherever we wander. May it be so. Blessed be. For our closing hymn, I invite you to make a circle. If you want to hold hands, you may, but you can also stand in the circle and not hold hands. Or you can cross your heart like this, whatever makes you comfortable. But circle up, 10-10, we give thanks.